It would have been nice if we could have found a Barber chair. Routinely, we build most things here out of wood, but the decision was made fairly early that this had to be built out of steel to make it strong enough so that it would last through all the rehearsals and all the shows. I talked to George Savitz, who's an engineer, and asked him to design a chair, and he gave us specific measured drawings, schematics of a chair that was made out of tubular steel and welded together. Then Neil, Oliver, and I took that, we cut the metal, and Neil did all the welding, and I helped him with grinding and things like that. And we put together the framework of the chair and then started testing for the seat drop. All right, drop the chair. Then we upholstered it. I've never upholstered a chair before, so we upholstered it with some vinyl leather-like material, and it moves on 3 wheels. One leg of it is fixed to the stage on a pivot point, so the chair always moves in exactly the same position and always goes to exactly where we want it to go to, making it much more safe for the cast who gets to ride the chair. I'm fine, Joanna, I'm fine. We ended up using 2 wheels underneath the seat that are welded to a bar that just slides forward and the seat drops down. And that is a fairly abrupt drop. Neil went and got an actuator that he put underneath it so it slows the drop down. So the heaviest person will drop fairly easy, and the lightest person doesn't drop, really doesn't even set off the trigger. And it's set so that when it drops exactly to the bottom of the trapdoor that comes up, so it creates one straight slide. Most trapdoors are hinged at one end and just drop. But in order to make this slide safe and work with the chair, Neil decided that he would put the hinge farther up the door so the back end of the door actually rises as the other end of the door drops. This creates a slide that exactly matches the seat, so they slide all the way down that trap door.
Where is she?
The top of the trap door is covered with a laminate flooring that we got that the whole top of the cube is covered with. It 2 things it does. It camouflages the trap door so the audience doesn't see the trap door. The other thing is it makes the trap door slippery enough so that the cast will slide on that door without getting splinters. And they slide down into a platform that has 12 inches of foam on it, so they're always cushioned.
Benjamin Button!
The trapdoor takes 3 people at a minimum inside the cube to work, plus Neil up on top, Sweeney, who controls the chair. So when he stomps on the floor, we have brakes that are on the side that we manually pull up, and that releases the door to drop down.
If this sags, like let it go, if that sags down,
Oh, yeah.
I can't get them over the back hump, particularly when we have George Oliver in there.
Yeah.
So these will have to be held tight.
Particularly with somebody on it, the backside is the more important, because if it dips when I'm rolling George or somebody around, I can't get him up over the hump, so we can't kill him. And I can't say, hey, push the clamp in harder!
I think it'll add a new depth of character.
There's no doubt.
New level.
2, 1.
Is that better? Brilliant!
Yeah.
Get that soft
Okay,
tail
put-
end.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That was good.
We've got the tail end if you figure it out.
Okay, Alex,
Yeah.
lean forward.
Oh, I gotta lean forward.
Right. While I'm still crouched, right?
Yep.
There's a 3rd person behind whose job is to push the trapdoor back up manually. It would be nice to have been able to do this all with one mechanism, but beyond the scope of what we needed to do. It's human nature to want to lift your head up and look at where you're going. There's only about this much room between their nose and the edge of the platform.
You're gonna stay lean back, And just don't flex forward, or you're going to be.
Flick forward.
Don't lean forward. Don't.
Because your
do
natural
this,
instinct will be
okay?
to flex forward.
That's
your natural instinct?
Don't keep your legs braced, because you're going to sort of squat into it. There's foam down there. You're tall enough that if you don't squat, you're just going to be sticking out of the top. So.
Not dead yet!
So they have to trust they're always going to go to the same spot. So they have to keep their head back a little bit, but not back too far, because then they're going to bump their head as they go down. So they have to hold their head in fairly neutral position and just trust that they're always going to slide to the same spot. And they've done an outstanding job of doing that.
And he lives!
Somebody have a flashlight?
My little lamb, my pet, Johanna.